Hi, this is Bob from Hobby Concepts. I recently did an unboxing video of this, but today I'm actually going to build the trailer in this kit. It looks fascinating, a lot of parts, so let's get started. Looking at this HEMTT trailer, I laid out the parts that are for the trailer. It's the trailer base, probably the gooseneck parts, framing and wheels, a lot of tires, and some of the parts that make the gooseneck movable. So I'll go ahead and build this trailer. I just want to show real quick the difference in size from the semi-trailer tire to the truck tire, and that's what allows the trailer to ride so low. So I'll get started on this build. Didn't take long to get my first fit issue. I built this little platform here, and this piece fits over the top. There's some alignment pins in here, so it drops over there, lines nicely, but there's a gap. It just doesn't seem right. Either you would glue it in the center and it would curve up on the sides, or you'd leave it open, and that's just not right. I don't know what's going on there. I double checked how everything did, but I think I'm going to leave that loose for now, and we'll see when we get to the assembly of this piece what it looks like. Upper part of the gooseneck here, nothing exciting on this part. It just glues in here. Fits very good. This this is a weird little piece. It fits in at an angle. It took me a few times to look at the instructions and figure it out. But it actually goes just like that, angles down. And you can see these after the top's on, because the top is this piece right here, and it's got an opening in the center. So we'll add a couple other little details in here and get the top on. Okay, earlier I was wondering about this gap in here and how flexible that plate was, but as I line this up, it lines up well, so that gap is supposed to be there. I don't like the gap. I'll probably put a piece of styrene on it. This is the gooseneck for the trailer. So in an operating position it's like this, and then the trailer drops down like this so vehicles can drive on and off of it. So something like that, and then it will raise up into a position like that. So we'll continue on. The next step is to glue all this cross bracing, these cross braces down in here. So I'm going to glue those on. I don't think I need to video that, but we'll glue it in. The bracing went in perfectly. It was actually very easy to install. The pieces all fit really good. This brace goes in here, and then there's several small braces in between the wheels, so we'll just continue to glue this together per the instructions. A little bit of a gap right here, so I'm going to get a clamp and put on that. Parts fits good, going together nicely. Okay, I'm gluing this framework in back here, and it fits good, but it's a little bit of a tough fit, so I've used these clamps here, which will allow me to keep it straight and tight. So I'm just going to apply some glue here. And I've got a couple of additional clamps I'm going to put in the middle. Just to get everything kind of squared up. A lot of pieces in this kit. Okay, now let that dry for a few minutes. Okay, these little side braces go in now, and they're designed to be movable. On the real trailer, these flip out, and then there's additional boards that go in on the top, and then they can fold up so they'll fit probably American roads, maybe in some plane they fly them in. I don't need mine to be removable, so I'm going to glue them into place. You could probably glue them into place in the closed position, in the open position, or you can make them movable. So I'm going to glue them in place like that because I'm not planning on folding it up. So we'll get those put in. It's pretty simple. There's a little piece here. It has a slot that drops over a pin here. Whoop. These two pins that just fit up into the, wow, shooting those all over the place. They just fit up to a hole in the chassis here. So, yep. So I'll get those put together. See how that looks. Okay, got my little braces in there. Boy, there's a lot of parts in this. So far, fits real good. Kind of a booger to get those in. Do the other side, and then we'll go on to, looks like probably the axles. But boy, it really stiffened it up. A lot of little parts, but it turned out well. So the wheels, I want to talk about those for just a second. First off, the tires are really nice. They're soft. I hate really hard tires. So they're soft enough that you can put them over the wheels after everything is put together and painted, which will be really nice. I can build the entire trailer and paint it and then add the wheels. The wheels have a little nylon part that holds them on, so they just push onto the axle, and so I can paint them separately from the axle and put them on later. So here's the wheel, and I'll tell you, I am not impressed by the fit of this kit. I have had fit issues everywhere, and I'm really kind of disappointed. I would have thought that Trumpeter would do a better job on this. So this outer wheel has an inner and an outer wheel, a center hub, and a little cap in here. So 4 pieces. This fits together good. This piece that holds the little nylon retainer here is designed to, it's got 3 pins right here, so it fits on this. And that actually lines up and fits well like that. However, before you glue it onto this, they want you to glue this 2-piece spacer on like that, and it fits fine except for one thing. Now you can see this is recessed in here. When you drop this hub through the wheel, it's flush here, so it doesn't reach down and glue onto the pins. I looked at everything, it's put together correctly. Reminds me of the fit issues with this plate earlier in the build, so I'm gluing them around the outside, and I'll just have to live with it. But it's disappointing that they don't fit better. I'm kind of wondering if originally the wheel was designed to glue together like this without the spacer, and they added it for strength. I don't know, but all I know is the pieces do not fit correctly. So gluing them together is pretty simple. Get some Tamiya cement here and just glue this outer ring on, and it fits, like I said, fine around the outside. And then this piece glues on next, but don't forget to put the little nylon retainer in there before you glue it. I did one of those wrong already. Had to rip it apart. So that just glues on like this. Add a little extra cement. I also discovered that you want to let this dry for a little while before you try to fit the tires on. But I'm not worried about that now because I'm getting ready to paint. So next order of business is just to simply glue the axles into place. And there's a few little detail bits there, including the springs and some suspension parts. Nothing complicated. I'm going to go ahead and glue that together, glue this on, and then I will paint the wheel separately. But I'll probably even put the gooseneck together first. So I'm almost done. It actually went together okay. Disappointed in the fit issues with the wheels and with this plate, but we'll work with it. The suspension is all in. A lot of little parts, but actually this went together quite well. So now it's time to assemble the neck on the front here. I glued in this diagonal brace. This part fits over that, and then it will pivot. So there's some parts in here that we don't glue. This brace goes on the opposite side. Keep my fingers out of the way of the camera here, but it's kind of impossible. So this will just glue into place. Just a little bit of Tamiya glue here. And then this will pivot up and down like this. So we'll let that dry for a second, get the bottom braces in, and then there's a part that fits in underneath here to hold the tabs together. So I'll go ahead and put the bottom parts on and glue those in. We'll move on to the next step. The front parts fit together beautifully. You can see the scissor mechanism here, and it scissors up and down just fine. The pieces fit great, and it was very easy to make it movable. There's a pin that actually will fit in this hole here to hold it up, and then in the loading position, of course, it's down, so you could drive your bulldozer or whatever up on here, your Ming bulldozer. So now I've got this ready for paint. Also, the wheels, I cut a little piece of sprue here. And it fits into the nylon collar just fine. So I will make little holders like this so I can hold them when I'm airbrushing them, and I can put them in a clothespin to let them dry. So I'm ready to airbrush it. I'm going to do my normal shadow coat with some black, and then I'll paint it with a desert sand. Just clean up any little imperfections and get painting. Got some black here in the airbrush, so I'm going to highlight some of these spots. The diamond plate, Okay, that's pretty much all the highlighting I'm going to do. Hopefully that'll bring out some of the detail when I do the color. Before I paint the trailer, I want to just talk about the color. Tamiya does not make a good desert sand color, so I'm going to mix Tamiya XF60 dark yellow and Tamiya XF57 buff. And I thought I'd show this because I haven't really done it in one of my videos. So I just use a piece of sprue to stir up the paint. Occasionally I'll drop ball bearings in one of these jars to mix it. So mix that up and we'll throw a little bit of this dark yellow in here. Just an empty Tamiya paint jar. Okay, we'll do the same thing with the buff. Mix that up. I see the buff is quite a bit lighter. So we'll mix some of that up. Pour some buff in here. Okay, that's about half full now. So I got half and half mix of buff and dark yellow, and then I'll use the other half thinner. So I generally thin my Tamiya paint about 50-50. Okay, so I got half buff, half dark yellow, and then thin that 50-50. Makes a nice thin sloppy mix, but that's what I'm going to use for my my desert sand color. As I mentioned, I've got my sprue piece in this wheel, so I put my paint in there. Gives me a nice handle. Very nice look to those. And then the trailer, lay some of this paint on here. There's a few parts like these shackles that just snap on. I'm going to hit them with a little bit of paint. My painted trailer deck, you can see the shading underneath the sand paint. A little bit of shading in the bottom. So it's just a basic shading. We'll do a little weathering here in a bit. I put together a set of tires just to see what those look like. The tires are nice and soft, they slide on easily. So one of the things I've got to do and let dry for a little bit are paint these light lenses. I mentioned earlier that sometimes I use ball bearings in my paint, and these clear paints are an example. Probably hear that. I've got a couple of 1/4 inch stainless steel ball bearings in each of these, and that way I can just mix them up by shaking them. So I'm just going to brush paint these, and there's a couple of them that are red, so we use clear red, and not rocket science here. I'm putting it on the back side, so when I glue those in I'll use some micro crystal clear. So go ahead and get those painted up and let them dry while I put the tires and wheels together and then start doing a little bit of weathering. before I start weathering, I'm going to put the decals on the trailer. They really only go in a couple spots, right up in here and over on here. So I just sprayed that with a little clear gloss because I like to put the decals on over a glossy finish and letting that dry. While that's drying, I thought I would kind of knock down the tires a little bit. You can see this, the stock tires. So I'm going to use these Tamiya Weathering Masters. I've got a little mud here, color, and just rub that on the tire. It's really just to knock down some of the appearance so it doesn't just look all the same. Get a little on there. See how these are doing. I did a couple of them already. Yeah, so that looks a little better. Just take some of that. I'm only doing the outside. The inside tires are going to be really hard to see. And then I'll spray those with some clear flat in a little bit. The hubs, I'm going to use a Tamiya brown panel line accent color and just dab a little in here. This stuff is real thin, kind of flows everywhere, as you can see. Again, just to kind of knock down that freshly painted appearance. I really like this stuff. I'll get in there with a brush and clean some of it off in a minute. Yeah, that looks better. Gives them that worn appearance. Okay, I'll clean those up a little bit, spray some clear flat on them, and I'll do the decals. Here's my finished paint before weathering. Everything looks pretty straightforward. You'll notice that I did the decals here, and I have not clear flatted those yet, but I will. The only decals were up in here. You can also notice the light lenses and then the tail light lenses. So those are done. Model's complete. Tires and wheels turned out nicely. So now I've just got weathering to do, and the bulk of the weathering on this for me is going to be the wood decking. So I will use a Tamiya brown panel line marker for the wood decking. I'll shade the diamond plate with probably Tamiya weathering dust. Maybe some dry brushing, and then I'll probably do some of these tie down rings and dry brush those in flat aluminum, and then we'll clear flat everything. So I'll show you how I do the wood decking. So this trailer has wood decking up here and down here, so I'm going to use my brown panel line marker. I have sprayed clear flat over this, so I will just spread the panel line marker on the wood decking here. There's some of my wood decking. Let that dry for a few minutes and wipe it off. There's the results of the Tamiya panel line marker in brown. Makes a really nice looking wood. I used some of the Tamiya Weathering Master silver to just lightly go over the areas of diamond plate. And I'll do a little marking on on the bottom down here with some Tamiya black panel line marker to bring out the highlights. I'll spray some clear flat on it. I think we're about done. There's the finished trailer. Just did very light weathering. I may weather it more when I finish the HEMTT to go with it. I took a piece of balsa wood and coated it with Tamiya brown panel line marker to make a timber so it would stand level when I have it on display. See the markings up here. Turned out actually quite nice. And then I can pull this little pin here and it will display in the loading mode. So that works quite nicely. Yeah, all in all a good kit. I was disappointed about in the fit of a few things, but anyway, there we go. Trumpeter's M870A1 semi-trailer. Thanks for watching, and love it if you'd subscribe.